That guy
Okay.
that is going to call me Ori as his professor, if he was back at home, he wouldn't dare to do that.
But do you-
So why is he doing it?
Now, I'm gonna. This is where I'm now going. I think we're gonna be having a lot of arguments now. But you're welcome once again to the EXPANSE community. You know, where we have honest conversation as always. So, on this episode again of No Cap, we're just gonna be talking about, you know, the regular opinion that when people have more friends, it tends to bring more trouble, or it might tend to bring more challenges. But just to put kind of context into it, it's a sort of belief that, you know, in situations where a person might have a huge circle of friends, or circle of friends rather, it tends to bring so much trouble, or so much, you know, things to deal with, so much issues to always have to solve, or even it brings so much responsibility on such person. So I feel that in that regard, it might be something like, I feel, I mean, even to my own point of view as well, sometimes I feel like it might be an issue as well, like too many friends. I sometimes feel like too many friends bring too much issues and responsibilities.
Well, I never heard the saying more friends, more trouble, but I understand what you're saying. The more people you have, more responsibilities, and the more there is the chance of there being misunderstanding, which could lead to trouble and all. But then the thing is that I think there are a lot of variables to consider in such a situation. Like one, I mean, because there is, within friendship, you have ranges.
Sure.
So you have the very close friend, and you have the close friend, and then just the regular friend, and then
Like acquaintances, yeah?
yeah, not so close. And then I think at the bottom is where you have the acquaintance. Like, I know you, you know me.
Yeah.
Once in a while we talk, but we're not that close. And then up we talk a bit, and then the close, and then until you get to the close friend. So at each stage, the expectations are different. So based on the different expectations, I mean, if there is no understanding, that's where if there's no understanding on what the status is, I mean, I don't have to say you are my acquaintance. I just know. We both know that we're acquaintances because we don't really talk.
But then it's defined.
I mean, it's not said out,
Oh, yeah.
but you can. I mean, you can know. You know who you are close
Sure,
to.
I get.
You know who you are not close to.
That's right.
So if both of us are on the same page as to what the level of our friendship is, then the expectations are the same. There wouldn't be misunderstanding, and I don't think it will cause a lot of problems. So that's one, understanding the dynamics, the range within friendship. Then two is, I mean, I think it still boils down to the range, because it will affect how much time is given to it. So depending on, I mean, given this, I don't think you can have a lot of friends, because you can't have too many close friends.
But sorry to cut you short. What I feel is this. I'm thinking from the place of too many friends would require a lot of you investing your time into a lot of things.
Definitely.
Because if you have a huge circle of friends, I mean, regardless of if they're acquaintances or just close friends or just close pals, you get what I'm saying? I feel that having a huge circle would require so much time, because number one, it takes commitment for friendship. I mean, you know, I do always think that when it comes down to friendship, there is a level of commitment that we need to put ourselves in. I mean, put into it, you know, for just to make the friendship even thrive, it needs this level of commitment. And also because, you know, you and I were having that conversation, I mean, not on set, but we're having that conversation of how people manage loneliness, yeah? We're also talking about the place of how people have friends. So in the situation of virtual friends might not need, but then you know that even with virtual friends, you need to spend time as well.
Definitely. That's why I said understand, like the level of commitment I have to my very close friend is different from the level of commitment I have to an acquaintance, or to a virtual friend, or to just an average friend.
Okay.
So they require different level of commitment. I'm going to be, I mean, the closest means the more time. I mean, the closer the person is to me, the more invested I am in
But do
that
you
relationship.
think more time with friends would demean your time to you alone? You know, your me time.
It is, That's why I said I don't think you can have too many friends. I mean, because
It's possible to have too many friends.
but okay, true. You can have
Because for
are
me,
they friends?
I do have. So the thing is,
The thing I question is,
Okay.
when you have a lot of people around you, I doubt if all of them are real friends. I know that within that crowd, you will still have that 1, 2, 3
It's like
that
inner
are the
circle, yeah.
friends.
Okay.
But those people are just there. So I mean, they might still be friends, but they would fall into the lower category of just some might be acquaintances, some might be just one of people
Like
that you
chatting,
meet and
just
all.
mates, yeah.
So those relationships don't need all your time. You can all categorize them together and give them the same amount of time.
okay, but then let's now say in the sense of where you have a huge circle of close friends, which I feel is possible as well.
Okay, so what do you mean by huge circle? Maybe let
So
us
now let's say,
understand.
so when I say, when I'm referring to the word each circle, I'm trying to say the situation where you know that there are people, the huge number of, it's not one, it's not two, it's not three. You know, it's like 10 plus or even close to 20 or even more than that. You know, you need to give that attention to, you know, you need, because if you call I do think that if we call a particular person a close friend, it means we need to give ourselves to them as well.
Definitely.
You know, we need to give, because when it comes down to friends, I always think that a true friend, a genuine friend would be a person where, in a situation where the two parties are benefiting from it. You know, remember one of the conversation I was having with Dr. Dami, and then we were talking about the fact that, I mean, funny enough, it seems like we're all using each other. But then it's like, okay, don't use the word. Use it. But then to put it in a lighter sense is the fact that we are all benefiting from it. It's not just one-sided. It's not, there's this particular biological word. It's not a parasitic situation where one person is the one just sucking the benefit and then the other person is suffering from it. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get. But look now, you said, okay, it's not 1, it's not 2, 20, 25. But within that,
But they're still close friends.
wait now, within that, within those 30 people,
Yeah.
let's assume you have 30 people that you consider close friends.
Yeah.
Within those 30, there is that particular 1 or 2 or 3 that you talk to more frequently.
But that brings favoritism. And that's the problem.
But wait,
more
wait.
friends, more trouble. Because we become biased as humans when we say, oh, we have inner circle. It might lead to being biased. It might lead to favoring one over the other.
No relationship is equal. So you definitely.
In what sense? Can you expatiate on that?
No relationship is equal. I can't say I have 10 people I consider good friends. I can't say I would devote to you each equal time.
So how
it's
do
not
you,
possible.
So how do you manage it? I mean, I just want to hear the way you think.
There are a lot of the way I think. There are a lot of factors that determine. Like let's assume right now, I mean, let's say I have friends. There are different situations like that would bring us close to people: school, work, church, sports, family. Different situations that both of you share a connection in. So let's assume you are in a period in your life. Let's say sports. Okay, you're in a period in your life where you are doing a lot of sports. Maybe you're planning to take it professional and all. And I mean, there's a possibility that you might need to relate more to those 2 or 3 people that you met during the sport time. And if things go well, maybe let's say both of you are together and you're like, after, let's go out for this drink, let's do this. The relationship grows. So at that moment, those 2 or 3 people are the ones a lot of your time will be given to. But then you still have your person, maybe you still have that guy that you've grown up together.
Sure.
But he's still there. Maybe after you guys go out and have your night, you come back and you message him like, oh, this is what happened in the day. So you give them time, but you are giving that one time. But then you can't give everybody time too. The other people that maybe, let's say I met this guy while I was, at a concert, I played drums, he plays this. If nothing has really happened in that line, I might not even remember him within that day or the second day. Maybe one day I'm just like, oh my God, I have not heard from him. I message him. So you can see the time varies. Situation would determine who you're talking to, when you're talking to them, how long you interact with them. Doesn't mean they are not all friends. But then it's not favoritism at the same time. It's just life.
Okay.
Like in a situation where I'm close to this guy. He travels abroad. We're still talking. But the way we talk will change. He's still my guy. He's still my close friend. If he needs me, he knows he can message me and I would help him out.
Sure.
But the way I would relate to him, as opposed to the way I would relate to my other friend who is currently in the same city with me, probably we both, let's say we both live together, or we're both in the same school, or we're both working similar jobs.
Yeah.
Right, where there's more need for us to talk, to
all the
relate.
times, yeah.
Doesn't mean that, I mean, he's not still my friend, but then I'm not favoring him over him.
So it's
just the situation
it's like the
that
circumstance is what compels you to go in that line, I mean, towards that trajectory. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
Okay.
I mean, doesn't mean I won't still talk to the guy. Maybe like there's a big time difference, and his work is very tedious. So we message on and off. But then we're still guys. If he comes back, we might spend more time.
Okay.
So it affects. There's a lot of things to. There's a lot of variables and situations.
Yeah. So one of the
that affect.
variables I'll also talk about, where I also always feel like, more friends bring more challenges, more trouble. Like we said, one is the place of the problem of becoming biased, or becoming trying to favor one person over the other. And then one other variable that I feel is also a challenge is, like we said, time investment. How to manage and split the time across different friends, how to spend time with friends as well. Now there's another place of your me time. That's another variable. True. So I think we can talk about that. Another variable I also feel is commitment to having a social life with that person. There are situations where friends want us to go out, right? But then it seems like you can't really do it at that moment. Most times we might have to always say no. But then there are situations where we know that it's just part of the sacrifice,
Yes.
And then, but the fact is, when we have more friends, it means we are open. With more friends comes more responsibilities. With more friends comes more social activities.
True.
More liable social activities. With more friends comes reduction. I think it comes reduction of our me time, because we need to invest into them. Because if we're not trying to focus on our own me time, we might be neglecting the side of, let's spend time with friends. Do you get what I'm saying?
I think the problem will come when, I agree with everything you said, but the problem will come when you want to treat everybody equally. I have this 20 friends. I need to spend time with all of them.
Okay.
And then my time, and then this, and then that, and then this. And then it's going to be all scattered.
Okay.
It can never be equal. The dynamics cannot be equal.
Okay.
There are long-term friends. There are friends that you've had and you always have. There are friends that come in the moment. Like in a circumstance where I do sports, let's still use that same sport, and I meet a guy that plays football, and then we're a bit close. It's not like we're close. But then let's assume he leaves that city, he goes to another place. I might not talk to him again. So he was just a short-term friend.
Yeah.
So I gave him time while I was doing what I had to do in that situation.
Yeah.
So I still had my me time in that situation without like not focusing on him, or without saying like I'm not even focusing on myself at all. So it's not like the way it sounds to me is like, okay, there is this, is like saying this 24 hours I will give this friend this 30 minutes, this one this 30 minutes, then me this. I mean, it's all interlinked.
So for you now, it's more of because I'm trying to even think when it now comes
like,
down
okay,
to
so let me say something. Like sometimes I have my friends, like they just come over, like back at home. Maybe like in school, I will just go maybe to their dorm, or we just go to one of the guys' house. We play game. Maybe I have some work to do here. Some work. We're all there. We're all doing our individual thing, but we're together at the same time.
Yeah.
That is a memory. Maybe we play game, something happened. You remember, you were going to remember that day. So we've had time together while still having our individual time at the same time. You get?
So it seems like the way it sounds is like you find a way to incorporate your own personal desires, and like sometimes you want the me time, the kind of me time. So when I say me time, the me time doesn't necessarily have to be like quiet time, or where you just, it could also be like a time where you want to do what you desire, right?
Yes.
So it means like you find a way to integrate your me time into that social time with friends.
Yes.
So you are at the same time spending time with your friends, and I mean at the same time spending time with your friends and also enjoying your me time, because that's what you want to do during your me time.
I mean, like look at both of us now. We message, we chat now.
Oh yeah.
But then there are times where you ask me what am I doing, I'll tell you I'm just inside, I'm watching my movie. That's my me time. Me, I like watching movies, or I like being alone sometimes. But then it doesn't affect that we see.
Sure.
It doesn't
That's
affect
right.
that. So I mean, your friends align with who you are. So
That's true.
your friends align with who you are. So I think it's easier to incorporate them in everything. And then I don't think having too many friends is necessary.
Okay.
I mean, okay, I don't know. I think there needs to be another conversation on what is too much. But in my own head, just when I hear you have a lot of friends, I mean, once you have a lot of friends, they can't all be close friends.
Sure,
It's not
I agree.
possible. Some are going to be close, some are going to be temporary, and within that temporary period, they might be close just for 1, 2 months, or 6 months, 8 months, they're out of your life. Some are just occasional, some are virtual, you've never seen them, just chat online. Some are acquaintances. I know you, this is my guy. If there's an event, you might call me.
Yeah, that's right.
And we only talk in that situation. If I go home, I might not message you again until I see you again. All those kind of stuff. So they're still all my friends, but then because they fall in different levels, the time is also going to be. I'm not going to worry so much that I didn't spend time with that guy that's just my acquaintance, because there's no need. Most likely, I'm not going to remember. If you remember once in a while, maybe, let's say, like, I know somebody, I'm going out on the road and I see him, bro, what's up? How are you? We can talk for 5-10 minutes. That's it.
That's it, yeah.
That's the time I need to invest in that relationship, except I want it to,
Go higher than that.
go further, then I
further
can
than
put more effort. But if not, that's all. If I see him again next week, then we talk. We pick it up from where we stopped that last conversation. And then my close friend, we spend, I mean, like, your close friend are people like, you share same ideology, there's a lot of similarities. So it's never like, oh, I need to give it time. The time it just flows.
But
like, bro, let's say I'm like, oh, what are you doing tomorrow? I saw this thing. You're like, oh, really? You like it too? Let's say we go there. We've already, we're spending time together.
That's right.
We can talk about it like, oh, that thing yesterday, I told this other person this. And I mean, we can talk about it while still being in our own individual space, doing what we like. Or I can be with another friend and I'll tell you, oh, I was with this guy yesterday, this. We're still talking. I can say, let's do this. Or we can go out as a group of friends. I mean, I don't think it's so distinct that is like, oh, I'm favoring this one over this. I need to give each one time. It just...
So, but one thing I also pay attention to is this. I'm thinking about everything you're saying. And I want to add to one of the things where, you talked about the fact that friends make up who we are.
Yeah.
That's why I always tell people this. I mean, I always tell myself this, more like a quote, like I've been able to scribe out of my experiences that, when we say, show me, back at home back then, people would say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. But then I always talk about the fact that show me your friend and I'll tell you what you're probably made of, what your values are.
Yes.
And I could probably tell you what you might potentially become.
True.
Because, sometimes it boils down to the kind of friends we have.
True.
Like you said, friends are more like our makeup because they would reveal our values.
True.
Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have friends who we don't have similar values. We definitely
we have friends that we see them doing this stuff and we're like, why would this guy do this? But then we're still friends.
Exactly. So now it comes down to the place of, I feel that in that sense, is also one of the variables we also need to consider with the fact that when we're friends with someone or when we're friends with people, there are certain things that we might always have to dabble into. For example, we might have friends and we know that, oh, this friend is having an issue. We always have something to deal with, or let's say when we know we have so many friends, especially when we are like, okay, someone like me where I cherish friendship a lot. So I'm also saying this from a place where I know it's one of the things I've experienced because I take friendship to be very germane to me. It's a very precious thing. When I'm friends with people, I just want to think about their good sides. Thinking about how they can be happy as well. It's not just one-sided kind of thing. So I feel that when we have so many friends, we have things to dabble into. We have so many problems to attend to, because there's no way a friend can be having an issue and we're just ignoring the person.
Definitely,
do you get what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And I also do feel, I also feel that when we have so many friends, we have so many worries as well because, we're just having a place of separate opinions, people talking, and those kind of things. And I do think that when it becomes too much, it's even very difficult for a person to now start distinguishing or let's say filtering which one is which one is not.
Mm.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you said. I completely agree with everything you said. For me, I take friendship very importantly. I'm just trying to think, like me, I don't know, like the way it's just like I was going to say something first before I say what I want to say now. Firstly, I think it boils down to the type of friends. You can have a lot of friends without having a lot of trouble, giving the people, the individual people in context. And you can have few people and those guys are trouble. Those people are trouble. So I think it's not necessarily more friend, more trouble.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of trouble, like problem.
Okay.
But obviously, more friends, more time, more this and all. But then from your perspective, what I keep hearing is like, oh, I have this certain number of friends and I need to invest in all of them, invest time in all this friendship. And it sounds like the time you want to invest is sort of like equal time. You want to share your time.
Of course not. Of course not.
I know, but that's the way it sounds to me. So it just sounds like, okay, I need to give everybody time, but then I still need me time and all. So it sounds like that would definitely cause problem, trying to balance.
Okay.
Because there's no way to balance it. Me, the way I do things is just like I said before, still the same, understanding the range in which like I know I have a lot of people I call friends. Some are close to me than others. Like there are some friends I've not talked to in quite a while. They have been busy. I've been busy. But when we link up again, we pick up from where we stop. But they're still my friends. They call me when they need me. I can call them when they like. I mean, for me, friendship is not just sharing the memories, the reliability. It's the reliability. Like I know that, oh, this guy is there for me. He remembers me in his heart and like he thinks good of me. I have some people I'm like, this guy, and when I'm talking to other people, I'm like, oh, this is my friend. But then due to the circumstance, we've not been able to talk for maybe a short period of time. But then doesn't mean that we are not friends. I'm not going to start worrying like, oh, we've not talked, we should talk, we should talk.
Sure.
If it doesn't, I mean, it's not like I don't care. I have it at the back of my mind that I have this friend and I need to keep up. But if the situation doesn't permit it, if he's so busy, I'm so busy, I can't even say how far or something like that, then at the moment I have the opportunity to, either I call or I text. When he's free, he can. That's why sometimes I can have people I message today, they can reply maybe one day later. It's not because they didn't see my message or they're busy, time difference, a lot of things. So I feel like having it at the back of your mind that, okay, these are my friends and you want to have a good time with all your friends and be there as much as possible, but also taking into context situations, circumstances around, and because so that it doesn't feel like, oh, too much on their neck, because there's a possibility
that's another trouble that can come.
Yes,
you're committed, you're putting yourself too much on them, and it becomes too overbearing and overwhelming.
Yeah, because sometimes they might not want to come out because they care about you, they understand, but they might not want to come out like.
So it's more about. So honestly, this is what I'm going to pick from what you said as well. So let's just lay it how that so that people can as well learn. So one of the things I'm going to pick from what he said, which is important, is the fact that we can have more friends, but understanding, or let's say having a prior opinion or prior mindset of trying to set out equal timing for them is like setting ourselves up for failure. Or let's say setting ourselves up for too much trouble, because it will be too impossible, to invest equal time to friends. I totally agree and understand that as well. Like it will be very difficult to. We don't even invest equal time for ourselves as well, or even for family members. Talk less of friends. You get what I'm saying? But then another thing I'm also gonna lay out is the fact that for whatever it is we're gonna do, it should be defined. Just like what you said. I also know that it might not be too beneficial to have too many friends. However, it is important to have a larger circle of friends, or let's say network with people and define it and define that network cycle, because you don't necessarily have to be friends with people, but at least it's better to know people.
I agree with.
Better to know people and define.
I think the problem was the usage of word, because friend comes with the connotation that you are close. But then, as you said, having a network of people, I think maybe that's a better word.
Okay.
Having
A
a lot
network,
of people,
a
yeah. I
network
mean, I
of,
have a lot of people.
Sure,
I have a
sure.
lot of people. But I'm not friends with all of them. I'm not close with all of them. But they're there. They know me. I know them. They know what I can do. I know what they can do, and we relate at different points. So I agree with you on. I mean, I think it's the word that maybe
Okay.
I was a bit
Yeah, but
tricky.
then that's what when we started. You talked about the fact that sometimes you don't necessarily have to call them, but oh, yeah, just an acquaintance. We can, and also respectfully, it's also better that we can call them friends. But it's
Yeah,
just
my
that
guy,
we
like my
know,
friend. I
it's just
mean,
that we know that
both
okay,
of you
this is
would
what it
know.
is. Yeah, the parties would know. Each party would know that okay, this is just what it is. It's just we're just acquaintances or we're just friends or we're close buddies. You get what I'm saying? Or it's like okay, whatever relationship we have is just professional. I mean, it comes down to the place of being defined. Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I totally agree. So, I don't know if you have any other thing else, any other thing you want to say.
I mean, and that is for friendship. I don't think friendship should be pushed. I
Or
think it should be
forced.
it should be first like maybe say, oh, let's say I meet you today now. I'm like, oh, I want this guy to be my friend, and I start messaging you like on maybe some awkward, then the conversation is just a bit awkward. Like we've not been in a lot of situations to have a common likeness or understanding or something that we can relate to, and you build conversation on, then later, gets better
But
and
but do
all.
you think? Because I'm beginning to think about what you said again, and I'm thinking, do you feel that there should be necessary careful selection
Of friends?
of friends? Or
Definitely.
maybe there should be certain values we're looking for in friends before we decide to like let's call this person a friend.
Definitely. I mean, it's part of it. Like as you meet people, and the relationship gets better and all. But like it will get to a point where you're like, okay, yeah, I think this guy or this person is. I like the way they think,
Okay.
the way they act.
So that helps to put them into different levels.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, I would like. I mean, you know there are certain people you would want to be good friends with,
Yeah,
to be
sure,
close
sure.
friends with, and others they're like, yes, I mean, it's okay, yeah, my friend. Like nothing much. The relationship hasn't gotten to a level where you're thinking, would I want to like be a close friend to him or something. So definitely before someone, I mean, because it's the closest people that would influence you the most.
True,
Because you're talking to
true.
them, they're the ones
Yeah.
advancing you. So it's at that point that you're able to,
You guys know each other like a book.
yeah. So it's at that point you're able to determine out of this set of people I have as friends, which one would I like to, and also naturally you just even without thinking you would naturally just move to
So towards
towards
that's
some
true.
people. But then even if you are moving and then after thinking you realize, okay, no, then you push yourself away. And if after thinking you realize that yes, this person is this person will be good to be a friend, then you just let it flow.
Okay.
I assume that's I mean before I used to try and push relationship. Sometimes it didn't work, sometimes, and then later after understanding, I was like, just be good in your intent. Have good
Exactly. Have good
communication skills.
intentions. Yeah.
So communicate well. If you share moments together, yes, let it be. Don't
Yeah, don't
overthink
force
it.
it. Don't
Don't think it.
overthink it. Yeah. Yeah.
If you see,
Exactly.
like, let's say I see my friend now and he put something on his Instagram, I comment, he might reply, okay. And then from there, we might be like, let's do this, let's do that. Relationship might grow, it might not grow.
Sure.
And then wherever it grows with, it grows with. Like,
I don't understand. I'm also thinking of the place that maybe values help to reduce those troubles or those careful selection would help
definitely.
to reduce those troubles. Because I also feel that one of the things I'm thinking about the emotional side of it. When a person is committed to a friend, especially when we've probably seen these people to have similar values with us or interesting things with us. So when they probably bring up certain things that are worrisome, we don't see it as trouble. We see it as okay, it's just something I need to deal with because we're friends. Because I also understand the place that there might be times I would be the one to bring them or bring up those worrisome situations and they have to deal with me. But then it still comes down to how to be reasonable, to balance it up as well. Just do everything all the time. You know, for example, I can't stand a person who is just of negative energy all the time. I cannot stand
I
it.
can't too.
Do you get what I'm saying? So that's too troubling. So then, but that's why I'm now thinking of the careful selection, because of course there are times where we, even as much as we would love to be positive, we might have that little inclination to be negative, like, oh, like I'm just tired today, like, oh, it's not working out. But then it's understandable, because there might be circumstances compared to someone who's just by default, you know, always negative, having nothing good to say. So
It's reminding me of something. Also, having boundaries. Like this person that maybe has this negative vibe doesn't mean everything about them is negative. There are also good sides to them. So having boundaries and letting them know. Because I back at home, there was this particular lady. She was very clear. She was like, "Oh, you do this. I don't like this when you do this, and I don't want to condone that. I respect you. I like you. And my friend. We'll go out together. We'll play together. Do things. But when it comes to this, you know what you are doing."
yeah,
So there was a boundary, and if the person didn't like that, then the person has the choice not to continue the friendship or not. So that would put away unnecessary stress, unnecessary trouble when they know that, oh, you wouldn't. I mean, sometimes people will always test you. They will do it once, twice. Once you're firm on your boundaries, they would respect it. So if you know that you can't take these things, and you make it clear.
Well, people have different ways of, you know, like the one your friend talked about, you talked about now.
I mean,
it might be a bit harsh for some people.
Definitely. I mean, it doesn't have to be like that, but making them know the boundaries and all. That way to save you stress, so you know that I'm friends with this person, but when it comes to this issue,
Make it clear.
I don't like.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I mean,
Even saves the two parties of trouble as well.
It saves. So the person knows that, okay, I can call him concerning this. And you know, another thing with friendship is, like I don't know, for me, there are times when, if a particular thing happens to me, there's always one person that comes to my head to talk about that particular thing. Then another thing happens, I have someone else. So the friendship is not like all round at the same time. You get?
I understand the fact that whatever we're looking for, we might not be able to find it in just one person.
Definitely, you can.
It's just like when we're looking for mentors. If we're looking for mentors, I understand the fact that we might not see everything we're looking for in one person. That's why we have relationship coach, we have a marriage coach, we have a business coach, we have finance coach, different things. We have healthy lifestyle coach. We've got fashion coaches as well, and that's why we find them in different people. Even when it comes to, you know. So, for example, if I have something to ask about health, I know people we talk to. You know, even within our circle of friends, you know, I talk to Daniel. If it's something relating. So, a few days ago, I came across a particular clip, one of those reels, and this person was talking about some particular controversial topics. I just called Daniel. I mean, I just sent her a message. I sent it to her like, I'll trace this, because I know she would know better, because she's a medical person, she's a medical doctor. So I'm like, okay, what do you think about this? Is this real? And then she was giving some clarification. I'm like, so I understand that.
So I mean, that will also determine how much time we invest, because if I'm a lot on Instagram and all the things I see are related to maybe relationship or health or sports, everything within that line will make me think of that one person or those few people that I talk to whenever there is such a subject, and then for that moment, those are the people I'm invested in, because we're talking a lot about what I'm saying. And then if I happen to change another subject, I go back to work or school or this, and then I'm on something else, something more serious. I mean, not necessarily more serious, just something different that I have another person. Then at that moment, that's what I'm investing the time in. So there's a lot of, there's the topic at hand, the interest, the time, the location. There's a lot of things to put into consideration before saying. You can't just bluntly say I want to invest time. I mean, if the circumstances, the time, the interest don't make it feasible for both of you to talk, then there's not going to be any investment. The investment is just going to be useless, because what if at that moment, let me give a practical example. If lately I have an exam a musical exam, okay, and you are my sports guy. I mean, you know a bit of music. I can talk to you like, oh, bro, I'm doing this. Or I've been busy lately. But I'm going to talk to those one or two people
to know better, yeah.
that I do music with, like, oh, okay, have you prepared for the exam? We need to do this. Let's meet. Let's do this. At that moment, those are the people I'm invested in.
That's right.
If I tell myself like, oh, I also need to invest with Thomas, I can't really at that moment.
Sure.
Because I'm busy on that.
Something else, yeah.
Even if I say let's meet, what I want to talk about in that moment will be that.
Yeah.
You don't really know much about it. So even if we see, let's say normally we might have spent 2 hours together, it might be short, 30 minutes, because it just seems nothing much is happening in the conversation. Because even if you try to take the conversation away, I might be interested, but then I want to bring it back.
Yeah.
Because at that moment, my brain is focused on that.
Yeah.
So in that moment, trying to invest is not okay.
I agree.
So understanding the time, the variables, you know, it plays an important part.
Okay. So, but then, before we bring everything to a close, you know, just to put it out there, you know, you can always drop your comment. I mean, let's hear your opinion on how people, you know, how you tend to manage your emotions or in friendship, and how you tend to balance between not having too many friends and having too many troubles. But remember, like, subscribe, share, and drop your comment, and we're definitely going to be responding to all of those comments. So we're definitely going to see you as well on the next episode of No Cap. Take care.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.